Welcome back to EndZoneBlog.com's Across the Middle show. I'm John Kuzma. If you're looking for all the latest NFL news and action, you've come to the right place. I'm so happy to do another episode, to be here with you guys, to be able to talk about what's going on from around the league. And the first story we're going to start with is DeSean Jackson a perfect fit in Henry Ruggs' role in the Raiders offense? And the Raiders just lost Henry Ruggs. He got in that car accident, got charged with DUI and I think manslaughter. He's no longer a part of the team. And for the Raiders, that created some problems because they lost a guy who, above all, brings a lot of speed to their offense. So it's not easy to find someone else that has that same skill set as Henry Ruggs. But luckily for the Raiders, DeSean Jackson's available. DeSean Jackson was with the Rams. He had that big touchdown against the Buccaneers. But outside of that, the Rams didn't use him very much. So because they didn't use him, he wasn't that productive. And now he goes to the Raiders, signs with the Raiders. And, the Raiders are actually using him. He's actually on the field. So DeSean Jackson is going to be more productive off the simple fact that he's on the field with the Raiders, whereas with the Rams, they weren't using him as much. He kind of, fell down the depth chart a little bit, so he wasn't on the field as often. And obviously, if you're not on the field, you can't make plays. That was really hurting DeSean Jackson. But now he goes to the Raiders. He's already made some big plays. Not only that, he's getting those targets deep down the field. And, Derek Carr knows that he can look Jackson's way if he has to take a shot deep. And just that trust that Derek Carr has with DeSean Jackson, is just huge for DeSean Jackson because, he goes from not even being on the field to having his quarterback's trust and being targeted often. And, there's opportunities flowing down the pipeline for DeSean Jackson right now. So for him, this is a night and day difference. He's feeling great about the situation he's in because this is a chance for him to resurrect his career and turn back the clock a little bit because he's showing us, I can still run. When we saw him make that play against the Cowboys early on in that game, he makes the play against the Cowboys. He showed us, he can still run. And not only that, that was the spark Las Vegas needed to win that game. So, this is huge for the Raiders. They got someone that can do the things that Henry Ruggs does, or did, I should say. But what are the odds of that? They lose Henry Ruggs. They lose John Gruden. After losing John Gruden, losing Henry Ruggs and Arnett, that could have been just a total meltdown. Luckily, DeSean Jackson shows up and kind of, saves his team at like a critical moment. It almost reminds me of like Game of Thrones where Jon Snow's on the battlefield and he's about to go down and then reinforcements show up at the perfect time. That was DeSean Jackson. The reinforcements were DeSean Jackson. He showed up at the perfect time, and it's been huge for the Raiders because without him, this team would have been in a lot of trouble. So the other thing we're going to talk about is Josh Allen good enough to win a Super Bowl? Look at that game that he just had. The Bills score 4 touchdowns against the Saints, Josh Allen throws for 4 touchdowns against the Saints. And, when you're watching this offense play, it's pretty obvious that, they do so many things, so you have to defend them in multiple ways. They'll run zone reads with Josh Allen. They'll run screens. They'll run bootlegs. And it's also you have to defend them in multiple ways. And Josh Allen is at the center of all that. And it's dangerous. He had the 4 touchdown passes. Did have a couple interceptions in that game against the Saints. But, those are the things that he'll have to clean up if he wants to win a Super Bowl. You can get away with, a couple interceptions against a Saints team that's kind of depleted at quarterback, so they're already flat, knowing they have to go into this game with Trevor Siemian, whereas you have Josh Allen if you're the Bills. So you already have a huge leg up on them in terms of morale, because they're defeated a little bit without Jameis Winston. Taysom Hill's out too. So going to Trevor Siemian, you're on your third string quarterback. Of course that team's going to be a little bit defeated. But Josh Allen was great. This is still easily one of the most explosive teams in the NFL. They can just do so many things. Josh Allen, the thing about Josh Allen is when the Bills' pocket is collapsing in 2 seconds and under, which means your O-line isn't really holding up. That's kind of like the bar. If you get more than 2 seconds, your O-line's holding up somewhat. But if you get less than 2 seconds, your O-line's not holding up very well. Well, when the Bills are getting less than 2 seconds and Josh Allen has to go to the quick passing game, Josh Allen is still better than most other quarterbacks because he has such a big arm. So most other quarterbacks in their quick passing game, they're throwing mostly short passes and checkdowns and things like that because they just have to get quick, safe, easy throws out of their hands quickly. Well, Josh Allen, because he has such a big arm, he's throwing more passes beyond 10 and 20 yards out of the quick passing game than most quarterbacks could. Just because his arm is so big, he can just, catch the snap, hitch, and throw. And, it's beautiful, watching that dude be able to fucking throw these passes from the pocket just so quickly. You just don't see that as often, but because he is, such a big armed guy and because he can really get it out and spin that thing, it makes the Bills really dangerous because anyone else that has to go to the quick passing game, you can anticipate a short route and you can almost jump it and you can create some opportunities with your defense, but not Josh Allen because you're still on your heels against Josh Allen, even when you force him to get the ball out of his hands quickly. And I think that's one of the biggest things the Bills have going for them, why they could, end up being a team that does represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. We'll see, but, very good player. And you have to like what he brings to the table for that team. The growth he's made from his rookie year to now has been huge. We're finally seeing him fulfill the absurd amount of potential that he had when he was coming out of Wyoming. And Josh Allen looks like a really good player that's here to stay for a long time. And it looks like the Bills have their best team since, Jim Kelly was on the sidelines. That's the way I see it. Josh Allen is the best quarterback they've had since Jim Kelly. And now the Bills are back in the hunt for championships like they were when Jim Kelly was there. I think that's all I got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to wrap it up early today. Just wanted to get another, Thanksgiving Day recap podcast in with you guys. I'm John Kuzma. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm signing off.